One of the things that I like to do every morning is log on to the Battlefield subreddits. Sometimes you come across some interesting finds, and it's really interesting to see what conversations are being had. And that's what I'm going to do for you guys today. I found a couple of things that I think are worth highlighting, just some small things that have come up very briefly, but have been acknowledged by the developers as potential issues that might need to be worked on. First of all, we have the smaller game modes, including the elite classes, and second, the Ballroom Blitz map. First of all then, those elite classes. For sure those guys are pretty cool to use, they make you feel godly powerful, and in the larger game modes they really can provide the team with some extended firepower. That's exactly what they're designed to do. The Sentry and the Flame Trooper can absolutely destroy people at close to medium range. Then you've got the Tank Hunter, he's awesome for long range sniping against infantry, one-shot kill with that Tank Gewehr rifle, and of course you can take out tanks with him. And lastly, the new Trench Raider, probably the best of the lot for me right now with his brutal melee swings. But in the smaller game modes, are they really a fair addition? The argument is being made that these elite classes essentially disrupt the flow of the smaller modes, like Team Deathmatch and Domination, and instead they centre all of the fighting around taking down or protecting this super soldier, as I like to call them. It's not uncommon to find a team using the Sentry with the VR Perosa and 3 medics just surrounding him, healing him up all the time, so he essentially just never dies. Modes like TDM and Domination are centred around frantic infantry fighting. One of them has a proper objective, Domination, you need to capture all the flags, and TDM is essentially just run around and kill as many infantry as you possibly can. But both of these modes kind of descend into protect the superhero, and then the superhero just destroys everybody with their amazingly powerful weapon. I did think to myself, why have these elite classes been added to smaller game modes at the release of Battlefield 1? But I tend to play the larger game modes overall in the game, so I play like Conquest and Operations all the time, and the effects of the elite classes in those game modes aren't as severe. Yes, you get killed by them from time to time, but there's more going on in that game mode, there's more distraction for them, and their effectiveness is somewhat diluted. In the smaller game modes, however, as the focus is essentially on infantry all of the time, they become a huge annoyance, or just the focus of the gameplay when they really shouldn't be. Now DICE has commented that their presence on these smaller modes is something that they're looking into, and one of the developers has actually done some calculations regarding their effectiveness. Kill to death ratio reporting shows that the guy running as an elite class in those smaller modes essentially has the same power as a tank in the other game modes. The guy is a walking tank, not just a superhero. The developer also admitted that the issue of these classes on smaller modes had slipped off the radar a little bit with the focus on larger changes to the game, but he did say he would take another look at it. No promises on a time frame for a change, however. So because we still haven't had an overall response regarding their continued presence or a removal from the smaller game modes, firstly I thought I'd bring it up in this video, and then I want you guys to leave some comments down in the comments section. Do you feel that elite classes should be present on the smaller game modes, or should they be removed? Now clearly, I'm on the removal team. I think they changed the balance far too much, and the team that holds on to the elite class during the round will inevitably go on to win most of the time. They can of course be taken down with a bayonet charge, or a melee kill, or a melee takedown kill I should say, and that is a possibility that you could do that in those smaller modes, but like I said, you tend to find they're simply surrounded by medics keeping them alive. So even if you run towards them, the medic or the elite class is likely to kill you. Let me know what you think of all of this down below in the comments section. Second thing, Ballroom Blitz. This was brought up a while back by a Redditor on the Battlefield subreddit, and he questioned why there is so much space left down here at the bottom of the map on Conquest. It hadn't really occurred to me before either, but he is undoubtedly right. There is a lot of empty space here that could be a perfect location for another Conquest objective. Ballroom Blitz is one of the few maps in Battlefield 1 that could support a non-linear layout for Conquest. But as you can see here, at the moment, all of the flags are essentially in a line. You might remember that we're currently in the process of seeing DICE redesign the Suez map on Conquest, which is arguably the least liked map of all of them in the game, and there has been a shift to create a less linear focus with the flags by adding another one into the centre. Would Ballroom Blitz benefit from having something similar? Well, firstly, the area the flag would occupy is already severely sparse in terms of its cover. With the map having planes in the skies, this could potentially create another scenario that we see currently on other maps, where pilots can just cash in on the XP by strafing continuously over these more open areas, and they just pick off groups of infantry on the ground. Do we want to have another situation where infantry are being farmed by pilots who are essentially, without really it being their fault, exploiting open areas of the map? The B flag on Ballroom Blitz by the fountain is already open enough, and it gives pilots their targeting position on this map. Do we need another one of those locations on the same map? I'm not so sure we do. And secondly, infantry fighting in this location I don't think would have a huge amount of variation, and it would really require long-range weapons like the medic rifles and the scout bolt actions. And considering I've already mentioned the little cover that there actually is over here, would fighting even be enjoyable? I'm not 100% sure this would be a good addition. And this is the sentiment actually that's echoed by DICE's lead gameplay designer on Battlefield 1, Alan Kurtz. He replied to the thread and stated they tried the additional flag out during pre-release testing of Ballroom Blitz, and it didn't prove to be a very fun experience. He also interestingly added that they could try the test again, perhaps in the CTE, to see if players like the change. That's a test that I would be really interested in. I'd like to understand why DICE thought that that wouldn't be a fun way to play. However, I think I've got a good idea why that might be already. That area of Ballroom Blitz, where there's virtually no cover and not much going on, has provided a really good flanking route on countless occasions for me during a game of Conquest on that map. If you're stuck around the C flag within the buildings, it's so far away from the action that virtually no one bothers covering the area, and it's almost open to all for the entire round if you want to use it as a flanking route. You can get to so many objectives by pulling yourself out, using all of that space, and you can get from one side of the map to the other just by using that lane. It would be really interesting to see, however, if that flag was added in and what changed in the gameplay mix as a result. Is that something that you'd want to see? Let me know down in the comments section. Now, neither of these topics are changes per se, they're simply conversations that have happened on the Battlefield subreddits. But on both occasions, I think we've seen potential wiggle room there that something could change in the future. And perhaps these are topics that DICE could approach with their monthly update cycle that comes into effect from May. Now, before that May update, we have the Spring update, which is the last of the seasonal patches, and I think that will be launching in the next week or so. We've now passed the 18th of April, that was the second to last Tuesday of the month, and I imagine we'll see that patch drop on the 25th of April, which is the last Tuesday of the month. Most game developers choose to update their games on a Tuesday. And I'd also be very surprised if this wasn't the plan moving forward as well, with all of those monthly patches dropping on the last Tuesday of every month moving forward. Once we've had confirmation of what's coming in the spring patch as well, I'll bring you a full video with all of the details. I've done a few videos over the last couple of weeks, summing a few things up that have been tested in the CTE, but we still don't have official confirmation of what's coming in this spring update. But thank you very much for watching today. Please do let me know what you think of these points down below in the comments section. I'll be down there reading as many as I can. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.